shoulders so that he can try to avoid locking in Xayah again. Because I didn't like that one very much. There are quite a few things in the draft that we didn't like too much. One of them being the not selecting the blue side. Just because I felt like things in the draft didn't go so well for DRX, and if they have the same game plan moving into this game, things are going to be really, really worrying. T1 are going to ban their own rel though, so already we're going to see differences in the way this one is going to be played out.
Yeah, Oner is like, you know, I played it once, it's pretty cool, I'm bored of it now, let's do something different. But realistically, the LeBlanc ban was probably the most contentious thing from DRX. That champion has struggled last week, and I think it's at the point with the Shiv changes, it should kind of just be dropped from the repertoire. So I ultimately think that they don't need to ban that. And I think Kai'Sa, Zeri are the prominent AD carry picks on the patch. We've only seen a day of Zeri, but it was enough, maybe too much.
It was. It was played by Gen.G and KT against much weaker teams, though. So
that is valid.
It might be that we're not going to see the priority of it.
I've just been hit so many times. I
know, so have I. Look, I'm coping. I'm coping real hard. Just trying to make sure that that is not going to be a thing. As Rumble going to be the final ban here. Last time around, it was Maokai taken away, as well as Poppy. This time, DRX are going to take care of the Poppy situation, and now the Kai'Sa. Oh my goodness! The adaptation!
Yep, and now Azir is going to come out as first pick. So, here's the thing, you don't ban LeBlanc, and what happens? They don't even pick it! They don't even pick the LeBlanc. Oh no, please don't.
Oh no, it's time. You know, you've got to, because Distortion allows you to go back to the Distortion after you get divided temporarily.
Maybe DRX try and distort back to the start of the series.
I think that might be a way to do it, although I'd recommend Echo for that.
Oh yeah, actually.
Because he has Chrono Break as an ability. Sejuani going to be locked in here, though, as Croco may actually look to tend his crops a little bit more than going out into battle. We'll see whether that is how it's going to go.
And I think, you know, if they end up in this situation, leaving the Renekton till 3, they could potentially try and ensure a better matchup top lane. Because we saw when the Renekton and Sejuani actually got a pair up, it worked well, but we just didn't get to see it pair up pretty much at all in that game. So they're kind of toying with the idea. And they're actually going to pick the Tristana, something they didn't really focus on in the last draft, but that we have seen consistently picked into the Azir.
Is it now the Rascal Cannon angle? Because I feel like they will be looking for some magic damage, and without the Kai'Sa availability, it does sort of push the magic damage to a little bit of a minimum. We have seen teams just ignore magic damage completely. It's not something that everyone's really been crazy about. As T1, they love magic damage. They're going to pick magic damage in as many places as possible, as Renekton is going to be banned away, so never you mind. There's Cassante as a bit of a Renekton answer. Shuriman advantage over on T1's side right now with 2 of them, but this is definitely very physical. There is a fair bit of power, especially towards that top side.
Though. That's the magic damage.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Actually,
go.
It's mainly magic damage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
Genius.
Of course. But yeah, Cassante's been struggling recently quite a bit, really, to have the impact he's had on previous patches, and Renekton has been so strong. I think T1 are super happy to have Azir in the mid lane, they have Maokai Renekton. They kind of just need to solidify a strong bot lane for themselves, and it's clean sailing for a 2-0. DRX, on the other hand, will get first choice when it comes to that pick on 4. Rakan banned, so Xayah Rakan not a possibility, but Xayah still has potential in isolation.
I would like to see Xayah banned, because I don't know. It doesn't make me too happy. How are you feeling? Are you still feeling that it's all right, even without Rakan?
I think Xayah is still fine without Rakan. It's more what it's into. And I think when you have like Renekton bearing down onto you, it does have value. Not the best into Azir though, because he does just outrange you so hard. But I think it's fine here. But I do think the Zeri, I think I've brought up, I said Zeri like 4 times now,
and she's not here.
She's not here. I'm just anxious, you know.
Yeah, you are. I think you are very nervous. How are your knees weak? Have you checked the palms?
They are sweaty.
Oh no.
What is spaghetti.
What's she making for dinner?
Oh, no.
Have you called her? Oh no. Well, Heimerdinger is going to be banned away. That's a Varus. Okay. Oh, that's a Varus. All right. Well, oh no. We know what's happening here. I think... Is it? Surely not. You get outranged, right?
You could go Xayah here. You could go Ezreal.
Oh, yes, you could go Ezreal. There we go. A little bit of an archery off, even though Ezreal's bow isn't exactly real. Oh, that's all three of those options are not the one we're scared of.
Yep. And
there we go.
It's the Ezreal, and I don't think it's going to be Ezreal support, so I think we got through another draft without seeing.
Whoa!
The Zed. Ooh, this is a.
That's a throwback.
This is a throwback.
Oh, that's even better.
That would be bold.
I love.
He's looking to the coach. He's like, "Can I?
Don't you just want to go on a magical journey with Keria? That's what we want to do." Okay, that's
significantly more tame.
Yeah, I think we've been. That's. Okay.
We've been finessed a little bit.
We have definitely been. I was okay.
Oh, you know what's cool? You know, imagine if you had a skin for a champion, right? Who's also an archer. No,
yeah.
The Braum pick actually pretty good here, though, I think. You have double AD carry. Braum Sejuani really strong in the early skirmishes. I think this is actually a great pick in this situation.
You like the Braum angle?
I like the Braum angle.
Well, that is exactly where Beryl is going to go. Does mean that Puddock's going to have a fair bit of peel available. We'll see what build he's going to go for. I very much hope that it is not lethality. I feel like lethality would do absolutely nothing in this game.
It cannot be lethality with Braum.
It has to not be, right?
You know, I think AP would be great here. Provide the AP to your team. You have the on-here potential to stack a Braum passive. Between you and Tristana, you can just shred the front line. You can play front to back pretty competently, and against like an Ezreal's going to really struggle with so much front line to block his damage. So I think DRX comp, you know, I was a little bit tentative in the first three, but it's kind of come together quite nicely. T1 still have some solid power picks on the top side, but I think this is very playable for DRX.
I would agree. I feel like DRX have more avenues for victory in this game outside of just we're going to steamroll you in the early stages or steamboat you in the early stages, as we used to say here in the LCK. We really let that one go. I feel like there was like a steamboat shout out last week, like one time.
And now you want to bring it back?
I really enjoyed the old steamboating. But I wasn't there for its debut, but I very much enjoyed its long stay in the LCK.
You can appreciate the classics.
No, you really can. DRX, hopefully they can bring us to a full series here. I'm very much hoping. Of course, if T1 win in 3 games or 2 games, it does not matter. They just need a victory to get to playoffs. That's all they need. We'll see whether this composition is going to be enough to do it. I thought maybe the Maokai might be flexed like Beryl debuted here in the LCK, but not going to be the case. So we did end up getting that Leona, as the Tristana that we were calling for in the last game does come in this time around. Where is Croco going? Will he be farming? Let's find out right now. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. 280 carries, both of them wearing hats with brims. Isn't that cool?
That's some good synergy.
Uh-huh.
What is that Varus skin?
I don't know. Hat with brim Varus? I think that's what it's called.
I'm not sure that's the technical name.
No.
But I don't think I've seen a skin. Like, I'm used to so many, like, very, like, mysticky, ethereal skins, you know? I haven't just seen one where he's just wearing a hat.
I know.
I kind of dig it.
He's just kind of silver. He's just wearing a hat. I kind of love it. Oner is thinking about throwing a soccer ball over here, but isn't going to, because he doesn't want to take that one level 1. And there is the little pumpkin bat thrown down by Croco, as he's now looking for his bottom side jungle start. He will be able to do that. So first camp going to be began, as Fade already shooting minions in the mid lane. He's taken E already. We shove it as quickly as possible.
Looking for that prio. I think that might be a big difference maker in this game, is it felt like Croco really suffered from the lack of priority in the bot lane 2v2, and also from the fact that he opted... He kind of did like the Ivan thing, where you don't kill jungle camps for a while, except he's not playing Ivan.
Yeah.
So hopefully more of a focus on that this game. And oh no, it's Halo Blades Varus.
Oh god. Oh no. Puddock, please.
You know, it could be Halo Blades. It could be Halo Blades AP Varus, but if it's lethality...
Halo Blades on hit Varus to allow you to have a little bit more lane presence, perhaps?
Yeah, that's fine, you know. Maybe.
That's what I was calling for last time, and then Teddy played the lethality variety. Keria is under the turret. He takes 2 turret shots. and Hail of Arrows comes in. So actually, pretty sure Hail of Blades, Varus is the best. Look at that. Keria is on no health. And he didn't do that in the last game.
And Croco's like, hey, enemy support just blundered. Time to gank.
Well, that's precisely what he's doing. And this is the fast track towards the bottom side. Beryl's moving in. There's the flash forward. This is the Beryl aggression that we know. And Gumayusi is now left on his lonesome. May have to flash to get himself out of this as the permafrost does come in. Cleanse comes down. He's going to hold the flash for a long time, but there it is. Croco going to be following after him. It's a merry jaunt through the enemy jungle here as even the Brambleback is getting involved. Gumayusi is going to be able to make it out to relative safety, and I say relative with a lot of emphasis.
Yeah, the wave is in a terrible spot, and I love the aggression from DRX. Maybe a bit too much from Croco at the end. I'm not sure what he was going for with that flash at the end.
Sometimes your opponent flashes away from you, and you take that as a personal offense.
Oh, it's because he wanted to track Gumayusi's flash. And
there you go.
Instead of doing the math, I'll just flash at the same time, and then I know when my flash is up, his is up. And you know, Croco once again seems to be very much spending a lot of time around bot. He will get a scuttle though, so this is a big improvement on like the first, I think it was like 10 minutes of last game.
He was sitting on 12 CS for until at least 6 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Just hanging around in the enemy topside jungle. So this time, definite improvements being made here by DRX. And it's the bottom side that is working out here. We saw Paddock have a really rough time.
2 scuttles for Croco potentially? There's no way. What a glow up.
Yeah, gets the totem in here, and oh my goodness. The glow up that you're talking about, man, like micro secret stuff really coming through here as Gumayusi. This is not the time to bring up these Ezreal stats because they don't look great. Things aren't going great here on this bottom side.
You know what this says to me? If you're not aiming, don't play it.
No, and you need to aim. He's got a fair few skill shots, so I would 100% agree.
Yeah.
Already a plate has gone down. DRX, did they take the training weights off? Like, what's happened here?
Yes, the training weights being, they drafted themselves early pressure.
Yeah, that's true,
which made it a lot.
Or go the LeBlanc ban, you know? Pick good champions. Don't pick Ahri. There are a lot of things that have definitely gone right.
Crazy how much easier the game gets when you abide to that.
It's nutty, isn't it? They're like, oh, wait, we're on 13-13? Oh! Although I think that a few of those situations could have worked on the previous patch as well.
T1 are just going to pick a Zia no matter what? Oh, I guess we don't need a bad mid lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, if T1 had picked LeBlanc, they would have been absolutely fine with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana's pretty good in the LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And also LeBlanc is just kind of not good at the moment, so...
Yeah.
It all works out.
It does. It does. So...
It just finds a way.
This is a good early game situation here for DRX, but they have not won the game yet. So we'll just have to see whether T1 can find themselves a little bit of a turning point in this game.
Have you seen what's in the inventory?
Oh man.
With a Braum? Like, your team comp is very heavy AD, and you have a Braum who wants you to auto fast to stack his passive.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, you know, you win some, you lose some. It's fine. Sometimes Boris, he really just gets you. He's a great salesman, you know. And you're in that shop, and he's like, "This tier, it's half price just for you," and then lists it at exactly the same price. You know,
you can stack it, and it will become more powerful. It's like a cull.
Yeah. And
you know how much AD carries love culls.
Precisely. And he hasn't actually bought one of those. In fact, none of these AD carries have purchased a cull. Do have the tier stacking up for Gumayusi as well, but of course we're not going to be molding about that one.
Yeah, that's pretty valid.
Yeah, that one's totally fine. And of course, I mean, I guess T1, they don't have a Braum themselves, they don't have a way of blocking it, and they also have Fate on this Tristana for, you know, the ability to stack Braum passive, so I guess maybe if that's how they want to play it, that's a thing.
I guess if I'm being honest about it, I think maybe they're concerned about the fact that Ezreal and Azir are both quite long range. So they're like, look, we need something to interact with them from a distance. And they're like, Paddock, you can do your poking from a distance. So maybe that's the thought process here. I do think it weakens the 5v5 considerably, but, you know, they're starting strong in this game, so if they can ride this momentum, maybe it's just not going to matter.
Perhaps. Let's we'll just have to wait and see, you know?
Just have to hope. Beryl, he's just hitting that dragon.
He is. He's going in. just, you know, base Braum holding up the OG door. And they will just start this one off. So first Drake going over to DRX, yet another evolution here in this series. Last time they weren't so lucky. This time 800 gold advantage, and first Drake will belong to them. Oh, Chemtech comes through as well?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Honestly, when you're trying to stack up for a soul and you see like Ocean Chemtech, you're like, it's gonna be a good soul.
I mean, it is guaranteed. The worst one's probably Mountain. You're still pretty psyched about it.
And honestly, with this team comp, a Mountain?
Oh, yeah. Frost Armor Mountain? Oh, my goodness. Croco, he procs Aftershock and never can be hit by anything until Aftershock goes off.
Yep.
And his Frost Armor goes down. Oh, just incredible.
And T1 going to opt on the other side towards the Herald. Zeus has just silently been building up a lead in this top lane, having a lot of pressure. So this is definitely the area of the map where DRX is weakest. And yet they are still opting to try and scare T1 away, and it's actually working. So T1 a little bit hesitant, will let the Herald reset. Both supports just hanging around mid.
Yep. Beryl just holding the door, doing what he can. Fate going to move on in, does have a fair bit of wave clear to his name. As Croco moves towards his top side, will spot this control ward. And I have a feeling that Zeus will need to respect this whole situation. Oner, once again, starting off the Rift Herald. But Croco just going to move on in and deny that one. Beryl has been here for a very long time as Puddock makes his way back down towards the bottom side.
And you know, if he keeps doing this, where he just forces Oner to drop it and resets, in 11 minutes he'll despawn. So...
Ooh, true. That's the option. That's what we're playing for here.
And it looks like T1 have decided, nope, we finally have enough people to do this. We're getting the Herald.
Well, let's see whether they can actually do that. As Croco moving on over, Nature's Grasp comes down. That is an early smite that does come through here as T1. They do manage to grab it. Croco, he's out of there. Beryl not going to be so lucky, as they're still diving in on top of it. Fate trying to get the damage down where he can, but he just cannot make it happen. It is still Rascal being able to pick up a kill, and Keria goes down as well. Oh, the hail of arrows! Lethality Varus! That's what I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting Lethality Varus to come out and just destroy them, and what I needed to remember was this is the early game. This is the time that the Lethality thrives.
Yep. Good vibes all around. And DRX, it looked a little bit rough. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't clean. Wasn't really crisp. But they got the job done. And we can watch the replay here. So Smite is early. Try to sync it with the eye from Croco, but not enough damage. And then both, instead joining the Braum in the pit. And Fate goes for a very bold move, which is to jump in.
Yeah, brave. Brave is what we call it in
brave and bold.
Yep.
And being in melee range of a Maokai and an Renekton, not the hottest move. But then we just see Puddock come in and just clean up. Those two kills, without those, I think it would definitely be a big loss for DRX.
And now he has a blue buff.
Oh, true. And he has a Ghost Blade. And if there's one thing that Lethality Varus appreciates, it's being ahead.
Yeah. And now he finally is. Rascal, as well, having an okay time, sitting at half health, but it's kind of what we see from a lot of Casantes, especially these days. Puddock going to continue shoving this wave in. So he has about a 813 gold advantage, although it was ticking down a little bit further as Gumayusi picks up some added farm. He's still going to be fine, and of course the Ezreal scales quite well moving into the later stages of the game. And heading towards his Trinity Force.
There's not too many threats for him as well. I feel like it's going to be difficult for DRX to get on top of him for the most part.
Yep.
So should be a pretty chill game, but I think the main issue is just cutting through the front line. So it's going to be a while before you can really do that much damage like a Cassante, Sejuani, Braum. But obviously does have the big 2-item spike we always like to talk about with Ezreal.
Yep. And he's heading towards it, stacking up that tier, still halfway to go on that one. Rascal has gone for the quite sad first item, Thornmail. You do see quite a lot. But into the Renekton, I guess, makes a bit of...
someone.
Yeah, he does. He does want that, and there are a lot of thorns on that mail. Yeah, that's all I got to add there. Is Puddock going to come down and look to see whether he can take down an extra plate? And Croco, Beryl, and Fate are all here. All right, Gumayusi is going to get imprisoned, and I think they only really needed Croco, but the rest of them still going to spectate the whole situation. T1 moving into the mid lane and will be able to get this Rift Herald to come down, teleport to the inner turret, as Fate is going to turn up and look to see whether he can stop this one from happening. Croco and Beryl moving in. Keria is going to get CC'd as the permafrost comes down. But he is able to back away. Oner gets into position, and Paddock just left by himself here in this bottom lane. The snowball is starting to roll here for DRX. They need a little bit more of an advantage. They need to put the pedal to the metal a little bit here. But the aggression, I'm enjoying it from the team.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much invested in that bot lane play, which allowed a window for T1 to herald mid. But all in all, still a positive play and one that we're happy to see from DRX. And now they're setting up for this second dragon again. Chemtech dragon means that you have the potential of a really good soul. So if they can get this second one, it'll really solidify this mounting lead they're building. But T1 are looking to contest. There's the TP coming in.
Yeah, K'Sante coming in as well. That is a deep flank angle here from Rascal as they dive on top of Beryl. He throws out the ultimate to try and buy some time as Emperor's Divide comes in, but the all-out is going to be there, and Poby is going to fall, but Paddock is already dead! They're going to be able to take down the Varus, and that is so much of the DRX damage. This is a disaster for this team that have really committed to getting the early lead. They may be able to grab themselves a little bit extra here, a bit of a plate on the way out, as there is still 30 seconds before the plates do fall down. Drake should actually be, yeah, it is going to be secured. Oner remains in the pit, and there it goes. It is going to be Mountain Soul, and a possible 3 for both teams.
Yeah, and I think particularly when we have these bulky front lines, it can make such a difference on those Mountain Dragons, but T1 doing a fantastic job of taking that, securing it, and not allowing DRX to pull ahead in terms of the Dragon advantage. And here, DRX get kind of corralled in, and they seem so split. It's a great ult from Keria to start things off. Beryl then gets split from Paddock, and what can Varus do when you have a Maokai and a Renekton jumping on top of you at this point in the game? The answer, not much.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. And imagine if Poby was actually able to use his Emperor's Divide in that fight as well. I mean, the Varus could have found himself completely, even further out of position in that moment. DRX need to make sure that if Paddock gets fed like this, that they protect him. They still retain a little bit of a gold advantage.
I'll see from those plates.
And yeah, the plates certainly working out there as Paddock was demonstrating that he still does have some damage.
I didn't feel like that much though, considering he's 3-1. And it's a squishy Azir.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like an amount of damage. I'm like, whoa! But you know, he's still got time.
He'll press W next time, and then he'll do more.
Yeah. And he's got Manamune coming along, so maybe that's the point where DRX really need to be winning out this game. But I'm not optimistic about how this lethality Varus will hold up, especially based on how their last fight went.
Yeah, that is kind of what you were talking about when you know, we were discussing the on-hit Varus prospects and things like that. It is certainly difficult for him to be able to actually auto-attack. And you saw Paddock land a couple of piercing arrows in a row there. So not the worst of situations. I just get flashbacks to lethality Varus is doing absolutely nothing a couple of years ago, over and over again, and teams relentlessly picking it.
And I think lethality Varus was in a better spot then than now.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be real. DRX setting up this Herald though, not wanting to give a second one over T1, but T1 are looking to contest.
Yeah, Nature is going to be grasping here as the door is going to be put up. Paddock still trying to get some damage down. Stand beside me. Going to be used here by Beryl as Rascal gets a flash out from Gumayusi. His cleanse also is down, as that is a decent amount of damage with that explosive charge. And DRX is just going to get them out of there.
Keria just walked it in for the rest of his team. He had the bomb in his head and he just...
Yeah. Now, we see a lot of players do this, actually. There's a lot of, like, disrespect to the explosive charge damage. Of course, wasn't stacked very much. Didn't kill anyone. But, it's, you know, it's just not very nice.
Yeah. Well, good play from DRX. They will be able to secure the Herald. And now looking to just transition that immediately into a top tower take, which is a bit of an interesting one. Although if they don't use the Herald here, it's actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah. Moving the Herald into the river.
Oh, you know what?
We want to take the river turret. Zeus is taking a lot of damage here. He does Dominus as Fate trying to get some damage down, but
you know what it was?
Go for the dive.
That threw me off. It's the purple skin from Tristana. So I was thinking that Fate had it, and I was like, oh, I guess I just don't need a Herald. And then it went down mid, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's just a bewitched Tristana.
It is. That's why you just take Firefighter. Is it? That's confusing. Oh, the turret is going to be taken down here as well. Yeah, because like Firefighter is just, you know what you get.
Yeah, you fight fires.
You don't fight Heralds, although sometimes they do.
I think T1 needs to fight some fires right now, because they've just lost multiple turrets across the map. So good positive play from DRX. They haven't let that dragon fight really slow them down too much. And they do now have it's not fully stacked, but they have the Mana Moon from Paddock, and approaching second item for Fate. So starting to hit some of those spikes as we see the third dragon up in a minute 10, which will definitely be the next objective. It's still a while before Baron though. Sometimes at third dragon you get that situation where, okay, you lost third dragon fight, you also lose Baron, but that won't necessarily be the point at this time in the game.
Yeah, we're a little bit earlier on, 17.5 minutes in, and there are 50 seconds before the Mountain Drake is upon us. The first one of the game. DRX, with the amount of map control they have from taking the outer ring already, it should mean that they can get themselves into a better position for this Drake. So we'll see whether that is going to be how it works out. As Poby pushed up, trying to clear waves. It's going to be difficult for him to move any further forward, though, especially with Croco bearing down on them. Gumayusi in this mid lane, just trying to tidy up these minions where he can. We'll ignore the fact that that last one went begging. Pesky turret going to kill it.
And it's surprising how much focus both teams are putting towards the Baron area when Dragon is up in 15. You can see, Oner and Keria posturing up here, and it looks like they're willing to give up the Dragon to try and make a potential play. It's like they're putting Poby out as bait.
Yeah.
But DRX don't seem to be biting, so they'll just head over to Dragon. And sure, the top tower is going to be taken by T1, but I think DRX is fine with this trade.
Yeah, and Fate is still going to be here to pick up the wave after it does move past this outer turret. It looks like he isn't going to push too much further up. And yeah, good defensive play here by DRX. They will sacrifice the turret, but they get themselves that second Drake for themselves. And that means some extra tanky stats for Croco. He's going to be very happy about it. Rascal also on this Cassante. I hear he scales relatively well with resistances and stuff.
He does. Braum as well. His W obviously adds resistance.
Hey, there you go.
He jumps on, so the more he has, the more he gives. I think this kind of shows how important that second Drake fight was, though, because if T1 hadn't secured that second dragon, I don't think they can make this play. I don't think you can just give up third Drake over the side of DRX, but they have some time. And 440 till that next one, which I feel like there'll be a lot more emphasis on them needing to fight, but by that point they should have like 2-item spike for Azir and Ezreal, which will make a big difference.
And remember, this is DRX, the team that hasn't made it to 4 wins yet. Yesterday, we saw none of our teams on the eastern side actually manage to clamber over that 4-win mark. So if DRX do manage to pick one up here, they will join the 4-win club. Everyone on the eastern side of our bracket will be on 4 victories.
Yeah, and I think DRX schedule isn't the hardest, but it's not the easiest. I think Bro has the easiest schedule, but they're already being a match down. If you don't get that 4 wins quickly...
Oh yeah, they needed one against one of either Harmalife Esports or T1 to feel like they had any chance moving into the final win.
And I think Harmalife Esports is... They're in good form right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one to take.
I think a lot of people...
You don't take down the G-Riz.
No, I think it's too difficult. I think a lot of people look at this match and they're like, well, it's a hard one. If you give it up, you have next week. I don't think DRX are going to be able to wait around until next week. Especially as there's only that one spot really available. If T1 win today, they're locked in. And then there's one spot for 5 teams to fight over. And I could easily see with Bro's schedule, they could be like 7 wins.
Yeah.
And that is going to be hard to catch. In fact, it's going to be impossible to catch if they lose today for DRX.
And if Bro win all of their matches, they could actually tie scorelines with T1.
Yeah.
Even if T1 wins here. So, kind of crazy. That is how that one goes. As DRX still pushing forward, there is still a chance they can win this one. Of course, 700 gold. Not very much of a difference here as Beryl just loses patience. He's going to throw an ultimate over onto Oner here as the Glacial Prison also comes down. But this is not the target you really want to be taking. Still, they get him out of there, and Fate grabs the kill onto Keria. Buster Shot gets rid of the Croc, as well as Rascal. I don't know about that one, but still, these arrows are just flying through. And Paddock, this is what happens when he stands this far back and they try to fight. He's able to actually get this damage down.
Getting a lot of value there, and ultimately, it looks like a bit of an ambitious engage from DRX, but when T1 attempt the counter engage, it's so difficult to push through. You have Braum passive stacking up, Sejuani passive stacking up, you have Fate able to jump away while stacking these up, and just very quick to turn around kills. And I feel like the front line for T1 isn't actually that tanky yet. Like, Oner's gone demonic, Keria's support is behind on gold. I think the Renekton is legitimately tanky, but he wasn't really involved in this fight. So they start hitting Oner here, and then Keria steps up to kind of provide peel. And we see when he E's in, that's like the mistake. Double passive stack up and just deleted, and then the Buster shot to get the Renekton out makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, it was beautifully played by Fate as well there, because you'd see a lot of Tristana's use that ult just to try and confirm kills in these fights, but not to be the case this time around, as once again, Keria goes on a bit of a journey there.
Such a hard game to play as a Leona, and you can see Mimic Tread's picked up by both Keria and Oner. Makes complete sense here, but regardless of the Mimic Treads being available, you're still going to end up just CC chained and probably blown up in these fights now.
Yeah.
Both teams posturing for mid. Dragon isn't actually up and available though, so they don't need to be here, but I think it's kind of T1 trying to push for that mid-tier 1 and DRX trying to defend.
Now the ulti comes out. This time Keria is going to flash it. Beryl is on the warpath today, man. He is just... He's not pulling any punches.
He's playing the aggro Braum, and actually, they pushed in, got control of the river, and it feels like they want to bait T1 in to come towards them. It looks like to be the plan here, and the poke's coming out. Well, didn't there, but for the most part, but look at Zeus on this flank. This could be devastating.
Yeah, they didn't land another Zenith's Blade as Puddock is just going to get 100 to 0. Keria this time. He's going to find it, and he's going to take them down as the Dominus doing so much work. The double kill, though, with this explosive charge, as Fate is pretty dangerous still. Gumayusi is going to try to find it here as Fate somehow surviving for so long. The auto attacks are going to be all he needs as Rascal versus Gumayusi. That is going to be the battle as Rascal is just going to get out of there. Doesn't want to tempt Fate, although Fate is in the death chamber. Still,
what a hectic fight. The fact that it ends up in a 4-for-4, and there's so much to take away from this. Zeus' flank is fantastic, and it shows how rushed this was from DRX. They didn't have the proper vision set up, so immediately the Varus goes down. But here, the bomb coming out from Fate stacked onto Zeus. He actually gets knocked into Keria for the double kill. And then here, Rascal is just ignored. They're focused on the Tristana, understandably, but this Cassante is running rampant. And I have to say, Gumayusi, definitely the T1 MVP in this fight, but it just feels like so much was kind of blundered there from T1, considering how well the fight started.
And the blow-up Puddock strategy looks to be
pretty
the
solid
thing that's working, right? And it worked so beautifully in the last Dragon fight. The fact that Rascal did manage to get his claws in, 4-0-4. Care's not found. Mundo's not found, as we used to say many moons ago. And DRX looking pretty good. True Shot Barrage is going to land on a 3, though. That is going to soften up the backline quite nicely here as T1 do use that as an opportunity to move into the river.
Beryl could have blocked that with his shield, so...
He probably hasn't maxed it.
I know for a fact he hasn't. So it could well not be available because, you know, when you max it, the cooldown reduces massively.
I walked into this, didn't I?
You did.
I did walk.
I wasn't going to mention it because I've mentioned it so much.
Yeah.
You set me off.
Yeah, I had to. As in goes Rascal. Okay, finds the third Q. There's a knock-up as they look for it. Still, Oner's just going in because I think he knew that he wasn't going out. And so DRX, they're going to kill the jungler, and now do they look for a Baron, or do they just try to lock down Soul Point? That is the question. It looks like Baron is on their mind. And DRX, they get into the fog of war. Winter's Bite is going to connect. It does a lot of damage with all those points in it. As DRX have now started off the Purple Worm. No smite available here for T1. They have to try and kill them all to try and deny this. True Shot Barrage does a fair bit of work here as DRX. They are fighting the Baron as well as T1. Could be that it's now a 5v5, but it looks like the Baron is going to be taken out. And now Fate is diving forward. T1, we're here just sort of supervising. And so I think there might be an actual fight for this Dragon as well, as T1 are going to move on over there. Immediate teleport back to the mid lane to try and get a bit of control here.
Yeah, and look, T1 aren't confident enough to rush the Dragon. They're actually going for resets. They don't want to mess with DRX. And we see here, Oner gets clipped by the ultimate, flip back, and the Cassante manages to soak damage so much better than the Maokai. Again, this Maokai isn't that tanky. With the build he's gone,
yeah.
The Demonic and the Radiant Virtue have a ton of power, but in terms of individual tankiness, they don't compare to Rascal having Jack Show and Thornmail.
And I also think that it looked to me like it was Oner twisted advancing, but I think it was Rascal Wing him back into his team.
He knocked him back, and at that point
he actually could not do anything throughout that whole passage of play.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. Once you get hit by the initial CC, it's just layered. The Sentinel Braum is so powerful, and you have double 80 carries.
Well, that's another ulti from Beryl. He's just not holding back. He hits one Q. He's like, it's ultimate time. Every single time.
He has played such an aggressive game which is kind of expected from how we've seen Beryl play,
Yeah,
if I'm going to be honest.
It's very Beryl, but this seems actually in line with what the rest of his team wants to do.
Yeah.
Which is a great look.
But also not very in line with what Braum wants to do, because we were super critical.
Oh, it's not about that.
Play Braum like this.
Yeah, right.
But Beryl's doing it, but kind of making it work. So, you know...
I feel like that is the essence of Beryl, isn't it? Like, either it doesn't look good and we're like, but why? Or... it does look good, and we're like, but why?
Yeah,
you know, like that's sort of it.
I think that sums it up quite nicely.
And then he gets 2 world championships, and you're like, well, I guess it works.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at that! Now that he's got the extra
that
point.
is personal growth.
It's beautiful. As now DRX is just going to push this one down. This is with Tristana, mind you. Like the amount of siege potential this competition has is absurd. Look at them. There's 3 of them. These buffed up cannons are just destroying T1. They can barely even move through the minions. As Rascal is now ushering another minion wave towards this inhibitor turret in mid lane. Now this is one heck of a Baron power play. The last time we saw a Baron taken, it was not like this, but it wasn't with a team comp like this. As DRX will break open another portion of this base and continue making lives incredibly difficult for T1. This Drake is still up, by the way.
Yeah, I love this from DRX. They're like, look, yes, we can take the Dragon, but we have Baron and we want to get the most value possible from it. And look at that graph. They have. Look how much they've managed to get from this. They're so far ahead. They're going to rush the Dragon down before they reset. Not even stopping to spend gold, but now 3 Dragons in pocket and this much of a gold lead. This is looking like DRX's game.
It certainly is. I mean, Beryl is now like, he's kind of a legitimate tank with double Mountain. If they get triple Mountain Drake, Mountain Soul,
and you know
like
what?
Braum is, it's going to feel like he's got 3 items instead of just 2.
In a few more levels, he will actually have his E maxed, and he can soak so much more damage on a shorter cooldown.
I think you put 3 points into it, and then you switch to W max till level 8.
I think I would just, I would have to leave at that point.
Oh dear. Because you're all about the, you know, you can put 3 points in Q.
3 points Q is completely fine, and it helps with that lane damage when it's valuable. But the reason why maxing E after that's so important is because points like this, right? Supports get so little levels in competitive. You're nearly at 30 minutes, and your E isn't maxed. And this ability is so broken when you max it. Just look at the wiki. It even says, it's like, oh, you put points in it and you get everything? It's like, yeah, that's how it works.
I really do walk into it. But, I mean, it was your birthday yesterday. I think
you
deserve a rant, right?
Well, I did also rant about Zeri a lot.
Yeah, that is true. So, you got double rants? It's been a great birthday, right?
It has been, so thank you for that.
Beautiful.
And now, you know, we saw Poby push out the bot lane, which is great, denying the super minions. DRX are just trying to apply pressure top while those waves build up in mid and bot. And Fate, with the shield there, just able to tank up the tower, get a bit of chip damage.
And look at this, like, Freljordian frontline just moving these 80 carries towards this turret so they can get to work. Man, the explosive charge does a whole lot of work. And Zeus just pops like a crocodile-shaped balloon. And now Rascal, he finds the angle. They dive on top. Oner is just trying to get out of here. He wants out of this base forever. And he is going to go to the death chamber, so he sort of half gets his wish. As Gumayusi just getting sniped from a million miles away. Keria pulled back by Rascal, who is very, very low on health. They do get the Rain of Arrows kill, but now their health bars are extraordinarily low. Paddock just taking matters into his own hands. Rocket jump from Fate provides no way out for this Ezreal. It's a triple kill, and now we're heading towards game number 3. DRX, what a turnaround from games 1 to 2.
Absolutely.